Devang Mehta is also with us. Devang, let's start with gold financiers itself. Manappuram Finance, Muthoot Finance, they're up 5 to 6%. Of course, in the analyst meet, they have reiterated their guidance. But would you be a buyer in any of these names?
Unfortunately, I don't track this space very closely, but yes, today's market rally has been attributed to a lot of factors, right from even gold prices moving up to, I think, almost all the asset classes today, or all the sectors rather, have sort of shown a good bit of traction. So I wouldn't be able to comment specifically on those businesses.
The rest of the NBFC pack and the banking names, and especially the mid-size and small-size banking names.
Yes, ideally, the entire basket, you may say the financial basket, or as such, large cap banks, mid cap banks alike, all this had sort of underperformed the overall market in the last couple of months. They were sort of just getting dense. I think credit growth for most of these banks as well as NBFCs had been quite robust. And when we see vehicle sales, when we talk about festive sales, I think most of these companies would deliver good set of numbers come January. So the October, November, December numbers which trickle down in January, February would be good set of numbers. Also, whatever the risk exposure guidelines that RBI came out with, the stocks, some of the businesses reacted to that, some of the NBFCs reacted to that, some PSU banks reacted to that. But probably, I think that's also sort of forgotten by the markets. That's the sentiment for all of us right now. That market is extremely bullish, and it's sort of keen to ignore this set of news as well. So yes, I think good that the financial entities or the financial side of the market is also starting to perform, which has generally underperformed over the last 3-6 months.
In some of these banking names in the NBFC vertical, but on the losing side, it's Ether Industries down about 8%. Thomas Cook, Honasa Consumer, CSB Bank, etc. In fact, Honasa Consumer is down 4%. You have Zomato, which is doing good on account of that block deal and that supply pressure going away. Devang, from this entire new age vertical, which are the stocks that you would recommend to buy?
I think most of these companies have sort of, I'll not say these companies have bottomed out, but some of these companies have started to show good traction. At least some of these companies have started to become EBITDA positive, which augurs very well for them. Though we have not sort of invested in any of these companies, we feel India is more a market where profitability is valued rather than only revenues. Yes, we keep our eyes open. We are watching this space, but right now, as such, don't have any recommendations. I've not bought it for any of our clients so far.
Right. Okay. Just, catching hold of some of the other buzzers. So M6, for instance, has taken a bit of a pause there. That stock, of course, has been doing up very well. There's NMDC, Adani Enterprises, JK Cement. These are some of the laggards in trade today. Within the large caps, there's Hindalco, India, Bajaj Finance and IndusInd Bank, which is a bit of a laggard as we speak right now. SBI too is seeing a very tempered move, similar as the price action for NTPC as well. Devang, curious to know what your view has been on IREDA. It's been a bumper listing, no doubt, and one wasn't expecting anything else either. But you think after this 80% kind of premium, it's still a buy?
I think difficult to say a buy, but let me also mention that it's an extremely niche company, right? So India is in need of sort of renewable energy right now as we talk, and this is an NBFC which the core business of this is to sort of fund the renewable energy sector. Given the government thrust on it, given the definition of ESG, this company belongs to sort of that generation where extremely it's critical that environmental clearances are going to be difficult over a period. And when you talk about renewable energy and India's government thrust into it, I think this is the top recall that people will get into. Apart from it, the financial performance, the mini Ratna status getting into a Navratna over a period, I think also augurs well. Sentiment for PSUs have generally been good, and I think the sector that it is in, it's clearly a sort of a monopoly or rather an oligopoly. It's a durable competitive advantage which this company enjoys. So my sense is people who have sort of got an allotment will hold on to it. Yes, there are a lot of listing gains people would take onto that, but these are companies which sort of over the longer term create good wealth.
What's your sense on Tata Tech? Spark had actually come out with a detailed note in terms of the comparison with the rest of the companies as well. What kind of listing gains one should expect for the lucky ones who have actually got the allotment? And if not, should you buy tomorrow?
I think yes, it will depend upon the price at what it get listed and at the valuation which it will command. Yes, on the IPO side, it was quite reasonably valued, and as such, there was a lot of appetite for investors because there was something left on the table. Coming on the business side, yes, it is into a extremely niche space where there are very few people who sort of can operate. It's a business where entry barriers are sort of high. There are companies like Tata LXI, there are companies like L&T Technologies, which are into that type of a engineering research and development type of work, or artificial intelligence or robotics. But this is more a niche, and given the volume that the auto industry is going through, given the changes that the auto industry is going through, and it's the next 3-5 years belong to the Indian auto industry as such. If I can make that statement in terms of everything, the migration to EVs or whatever upgrades are happening per capita consumption of vehicles. So yes, it's a beautiful sector to be in. Again, as I said, it's a great business. A Tata company coming up with an IPO after 20 years created a lot of buzz. It's not as euphoric as it should get because it was not very highly valued. Yes, post listing, probably we need to review that at what price it gets listed. Looking at the IREDA listing today, I think a bumper listing seems to be on the cards.
Wanted your sense in, and this is on the light of the big move that you're seeing on BHEL, for instance, today, and also the other PSU packs. Just wanted to understand, where is it that your biases or preferences lie?
Asha, yes, I think after this PSU, most of these PSUs are aligned to CapEx, right? CapEx or power. Most of India's PSU, if you can relate to, be it NTPC, be it Power Grid, be it the companies that we talked about, be it REC, be it PFC or BHEL, most of these companies would cater to something which is called capital expenditure. And I think government thrust on capital expenditure in the last 2-3 years particularly has been great. And this being again an election year, I think a lot of projects are getting completed, a lot of projects are even getting built, a lot of greenfield, brownfield projects are getting commissioned. So yes, even the private sector has sort of jumped into the capex bandwagon. So yes, these are companies which have come out of a multi-year sort of a bear cycle. That there are legs for a lot of these companies for the next 2-3 years, be it defense, be it something related to aviation, be it railways. So yes, this time it's not just the story. It's this time a lot of these companies have come up with revenues and are also showing use that sort of a robust type of earnings growth. So yes, most of these companies would tend to do well. But as I said, there is a limit to what a valuation can go up, or just stories would not sell. These are most of these companies are delivering right now. So yes, probably one can stay put if they have bought these stocks.
Where are the contra bets in the market? IT, for instance, is one space which is doing well today. You think that can be relooked at?
I think yes, two spaces which sort of are export oriented. No marks for guessing. Yes, IT and pharma. Pharma has typically done very well. Some of the pharma companies have actually done very well, and some of the companies had come up with good set of numbers as well. IT, yes, was sort of a mixed sort of quarters. Some companies came up with decent guidance, and some companies sort of missed the estimates completely. Now, I think both these sectors were under the overhang that the entire globe is still sort of shrinking. That thought comes out of the that comes out. Why is it's very important to now say that if the narrative on the interest rate and inflation, and if higher for longer theory or the narrative is getting challenged, I think the demand scenario in US probably would start to sort of come out as well. Most importantly, I think everyone has a view, the street had a view that the Fed would sort of not decrease rates at least till the mid of the next year. But now it seems like the Fed would blink a little more. And if the economy again sort of does not go into a larger slowdown or recession, which was sort of anticipated, I think these sectors will do well. Yes, IT demand can come back. These are contra bets, if you ask me. Yes, IT can be a little bit of a contra bet from now on. Of course, not a bet, where you could sort of target 20-25% type of return. But somebody wishing at 12-15% type of return over the next 2-3 years, CAGR can very well be possible in the IT sector.
IT could be one of those.
Is that IPO, or rather that debut, hits the street tomorrow, so that's going to be all excitement around that. But Devang, what's your take here? Tata Technologies, still a subscribe or a buy on day one?
Yeah, so I think it was an excellent sort of an IPO which left a lot of meat on the table for sort of people to make money, and the response was extremely good. Tata IPO coming after 20 years, I just made this point, was an extremely sort of a good a good IPO in the pipeline. Plus, what is important is that this is a niche company again into sort of ER&D operating in an environment. We are talking about autos earlier, that how auto sales are going to sort of do extremely well for the next level. There are only companies like LXI and LAT Technologies, which are a little bit of comparable companies. So yes, I think people who would have sort of got this IPO would laugh all the way to the bank. But my sense is that it's extremely good hold rather than selling off on the first day, which a lot of times people are tempted to. But if somebody holds it for the longer term, yes, what price it gets listed at that point, what is the valuation? That's a little bit of a monitorable that we need to do rather than giving it a blank as a buy recommendation.
Sure, point taken. So let's see how that one lists tomorrow. But you also have LIC